A little bit.
This Friday? That was from. Well, Charlie said that one dress. Yeah. I flexed Friday morning.
Is this something we have to read? Have to approve it.
Hello, guys. Fantastic. It's great to see you too. It's not been like what, like a couple of days?
Not very often, though.
I hope it was gonna be in here.
We live large.
Sometimes it's freezing.
It is.
Usually
These lights
Yeah.
right up though, typically. Gosh. Hey.
I think we should make this a normal.
bad.
Use your gavel.
I'm going to. You ready? Excuse me, Barb. Would you sit down, please? Thanks, man. Okay, this is the April 23rd work session of the Elizabethtown City Council. Mr. Fulkerson, will you lead us in prayer, please?
We'll do it. Let's pray. Father, we pause to say thank you for this great community that we're privileged to live in, and we thank you for the men and women that every day work so hard to make it a great city. Father, we remember that we assemble today as part of a free nation, and we're thankful for those that have given of their lives to allow us this, as well as those that today stand in harm's way to protect our freedoms. Father, may all that we do pleasing to you bring glory to your name. It is in that name that we ask and we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Marty. Join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, well, we have a duo, Scott Reynolds and Jeff Hawkins, talking about public works.
I'm going to start it off, and then if you all have questions on how we're going to finance it, then Jeff's going to come up. So
That's a sure bet.
I think in your all's packages last week were 2 memos on the Public Works Operations Building, and then in your mailbox today was a 3rd one. And I'm sorry, I just got that to you today. So we've bid out the operations building that was in the budget. We received 5 bids from general contractors on it, and those are all included. And we're asking you all to consider Isaac Tatum Construction for that bid. So I don't know if you all have had time to review that. Have any questions on the bid? Bid portion.
I wondered what the alternative one was.
That's a different roofing system for it.
But somebody had
Right.
155, somebody else had 180, and
I-
they had to add 10,000.
I've talked with our architect on that, and they thought they wrote it up pretty good, but I don't think they wrote it nearly as good as they should have if we're getting that differentiated in
Well,
bids.
I mean, I saw where it said they even called them
Yes.
and then asked them, were they
Right.
comfortable with
Yeah.
that?
And they said they're totally comfortable with that. So it's just a different roofing system and we don't have to accept it. So if you all have a problem with that number,
Roofing system is
it's
different.
instead of a metal roof, it's a different it's the way it attaches to the pre-engineered metal building. So
It's a slope roof or
No.
flat?
it's slope roof.
It's a slope,
It's
okay.
slope roof. It's a pre-engineered metal building roof. So,
Okay.
it's just a different manufacturing technique for a metal roof.
But they can do it for 10.
Well, that one company had a deduct of $100,000.
Right.
So I think it's the people that are comfortable with that roofing system is what
For
we're
known
seeing.
product.
Yes.
Okay.
But we don't, like I said, we don't have to accept that. We're getting a good roof, whichever way we go.
You're saying you're comfortable with these
I'm
roofs,
comfortable with not accepting that alternate or accepting that.
but
alternate.
are accepting it too.
Yes, sir.
So what is the roof in the regular bid?
A metal roof.
It's a metal roof
Yes.
too. just-
Both of them are metal. It's just a different way it gets attached and manufactured. Yep. It's same metal roof. It won't change the look of the building. It's just a different manufacturing technique.
We just don't want to come up and say, well, we didn't know it was gonna be like that, so here
Right.
comes another. big
So-
change order.
So if we don't want to do that, then let's not accept that alternate and get the regular roof that's in 99% of the pre-engineered metal buildings that are built around
Is
here.
there an advantage to the other roof? What is it giving us?
I,
that the
I
other
don't know
roof
all of the details, so I apologize. I can get you.
Explain us though what kind of roof we would get with this bid.
With that-
You're recommending
With the
icing.
It's
Well,
a
no, with icing.
it's a built up metal roof as opposed to a pre-manufactured roofing system. That's the difference.
Pre-manufactured, meaning it comes in already put
Yes,
together?
yes, and they attach it to that instead of a built up metal roof. That's the difference. That's to me,
This type of roof we got on the Public Works building now, right?
yeah, is what's in the regular bid.
Right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, that's why I'm fine with not accepting that alternate.
Are you saying it has less seams? Is that?
Yes.
How you gonna get a leak if you don't have a sink?
I mean, we still have a roof, so we're still gonna get leaks. I can,
Metal roofs leak, right?
once I figure out how we can build buildings without roofs, I'll be great.
Doc, you said you were fine.
Yes,
either
with-
one, I guess.
with not
Do you-
accepting
do
the
you have a
offer.
preference for either?
Not really, not really. I would save the $10,000 and not accept it.
And their,
I've got plenty of other places I can spend $10,000 on the bids.
and their bid is 600,000 less than the
Yes,
next bid.
yep, and they say they have everything in there. The architect has talked to them. This company built, I found this out, this company built Hendrickson. And they built several schools around here as well.
And
Mhm.
that's been referenced and
Yes,
talked
mhm,
to.
yes, and we talked to them.
Change orders
Nope,
or
nope.
overruns.
Hey, Scott, I wondered, on your list, you had Alliance and Do All Construction and Howard Pence here in town.
Those are just ones that had picked up bids and then
Picked up the packs. and then
they picked up the packs, came to the pre-bid, and then for whatever reason didn't bid on them. Yes, sir. So we had listed them just because we thought they might show up at the bid opening.
So 8 total picked up the packages.
Yes, sir. As general contractors and came to the pre-bid. Yes, sir. So that's number one on operation building. Number two is the fairly thick memo I sent you all on special inspections. Again, these are code required. Every building we build, we have to have special inspections. And so we got 5 bids on it as well from different companies. As you can see, one of them showed up late with the RFP. So we kind of, if they can't figure out how to get an RFP to us on time, then I'm not sure we want to hire them anyway. So,
On the building and earth sciences,
Yes.
they have their base bid.
yes.
And then next to it, you got time and materials. And I looked through the other 3 bids.
Mhm.
All of them said lump sum, but
Right.
none of them mentioned time and materials.
they
in
did not.
addition to. So
Right.
Why would
Correct.
we go with somebody lower just, but not know what those other costs coming in are gonna be.
Well, we're obviously taking a risk there. We can do it either way. And this is just the suggestion that we had. Yeah, we'll try to limit the number of visits they make and make sure that they don't go above that.
Well, in their packet also show, because I know you're not gonna sign their contract.
No,
right?
we are not. No, we have our own contracts that
But in-
everybody signs.
Right, but they indicated that they wouldn't provide any more than 100,000 in
No.
professional liability,
We
but
s-
they would, but they're gonna charge you another $1,000 for it.
We sent them all of our requirements, so we feel that they cannot enforce that on us.
They can't have what?
They cannot enforce that on us.
Oh, okay.
And obviously, if they fight us too hard, then we just won't accept that contract.
How would you even get close to a number based on for them? I mean, makes me nervous.
The time and the material.
Time and
materials.
That's just the way that some of them love to respond instead of doing lump
I know,
sums.
but does that make you nervous?
It does make me nervous a little bit.
It's tough
Yes.
to manage.
It is very tough to
I
manage.
think so
Mhm.
too.
But CMW was okay in recommending.
Yeah, and they've used them before, and like the gentlemen that are in this company that bid on it, they've done a couple of jobs for the city, so they understand our expectations. But if we want to go with all of them are good, so it wouldn't bother me any if you all said, hey, because they're time and materials and they want to charge us extra money, then we're not going to accept them and go with Ellie Gregg too. Yeah, they've done.
That's where I would lean.
Okay, that's fine. I'm good with that.
And
Yes.
Time material
And when
based on
we-
that fee schedule.
Yeah, and when we ask for the bids,
We asked them.
do we say we want a hard
Yes,
number?
yes, we do. But
So
it's.
when they come out and then they do a soft
Yep.
number plus time and material. So they're not really following
They're
our
not following
instructions.
what
No, they're not. And it's professional services. We can accept any one of them that we want.
Yeah.
So if you all say Ellie Gregg, then that's what we'll put on the municipal.
I'm comfortable. Yeah.
Okay.
same here.
Kind of
All right.
like them.
I'm good. They're a good company. Last memo on the Public Works Operation Building. Again, I apologize. You all got it today for your review is CMW's Construction Administration Services. We started this process on the Public Works Admin Building of getting the architects to give us a time and material not to exceed number to try to save them money. And just to let you know, on the Public Works Admin Building, we signed a not to exceed contract of $58,600 and spent to date just shy of $36,000. So we have saved $22,000 by doing it this process.
With this particular company.
Yes, yes. And so they have obviously given us a little bit higher number to not to exceed, but we will limit that damage as much as we can as well.
Catch up, man.
I don't think there'll be any catch up.
Little catch-up opportunity.
Yes, but we will manage them properly and make sure we don't spend that much money too.
Scott, did anyone even give an inkling that they were interested, a local business, in Town, Howard County to build it?
To build this,
Yeah.
Howard Penn's.
Picked it up, but did.
Yeah. And Mike came to the pre-bid and we talked, and I did not have a chance to follow back up with him, but we are truly out of quality GCs in this town, besides Howard Penn's. But
Are they just too busy? Some of Jenkins and Essex?
I don't know about Jenkins. I know they've got a building in Washington County they're building the extension center, but beyond that, I'm not sure what they're building right now.
Thank you for this information.
You're welcome.
Yes,
All this.
very
Thank
much.
you.
I'm teachable. Charlie might disagree, but I'm teachable.
Tell us later. I'm not gonna ask for that.
Thank you. Moving on from that one, we did send you all quite a bit of information on the architectural services. I wanted to see if you had any follow-up questions on that for the fire station.
I read through all your questions. I mean, I thought they were
Okay.
good questions.
They were good.
And I read through the scoring sheets.
Oh.
And it seems to me kind of like a weird way to get to the number, but all of you guys picked the same
Yes, sir.
company.
Mhm.
So even though your grading scale may have been different.
Right.
In other words, you think a little higher of this than something else, but when
We
it
have to
came down the
create a
bottom
criteria.
number-
We've had to create a criteria, and that's the criteria that we
Right.
use. So,
So, I mean, you all picked the same company. So,
yes, sir.
That's what I noticed.
It wouldn't be, and I wouldn't feel comfortable going against, who you picked. And, looked like they had a fairly nice presentation.
They did. They're a good architectural firm. They really are.
But I appreciate, but like Marty said, I appreciate you sending us all the stuff. It was quite a bit of stuff, but it was kind of interesting to read through it and see, what you guys thought was important or the most important.
I'll stop carrying it all with me now. It's been hurting my back.
You all agreed on.
One more thing, I know it's not on the agenda, but I thought I'd mention it while I was up here. We have advertised construction manager services on Freeman Lake and American Legion. So those are due not this Thursday, but the following Thursday.
Okay.
We'll bring you all that information too when we get it.
Based on what you read and what you heard from Scott, what do you think of the qualification-based selection process?
I like it, just as
That-
long as we get to
that's-
see it.
Comfortable with it.
So we don't rubber stamp it, we get to see it, but yeah, it was good.
I'm comfortable with it.
I'm gonna buy y'all some big old rubber stamps. Here we go.
There's quite a discussion going on right now, especially within the engineering
Yes, there is.
areas and companies of trying to get qualification-based selection more understood and more adopted by especially government units. And so it has, as I said, quite a bit of discussion going on about it. It went away from that a lot, even by the state government,
Yes.
but it seems to be coming back.
It seemed like it was more on the federal side than it was anybody else.
To me, the most important part is when you check their referrals. To me, that's the most important part, because if somebody puts on there that we built this and we built this and we built the Mecklenburg County this and the Lebanon this, now that's great. Glad you built it. But what kind of experience did they have when
Right.
you were building it? And so to me, the references are the absolute.
I try to find ones that they don't list as a reference
and then
what
go
they
ask
built
them.
and then go ask them. Because if you're listing a reference, it's like a reference on a resume. You ain't listening to somebody who's going to tell you all the bad stuff in you. So, I can reach out into the engineering community, architectural community and say, hey, what else have they built? And talk to those people. We try to.
So next big hurdle is finding a general contractor for the parks.
Yeah, construction manager. Yes, sir.
Construction.
Mhm. Yep. So, May 7th, I think is the next meeting. So we'll put all four of those things on the municipal order, if that's okay. Thank you all.
Hey, Scott, you want to ask Jeff how to pay for
Yeah.
We got cash.
Do we have money?
Pay for what?
Cash.
For
There's
operation.
three ways we finance it. One, we pay for it. Pay for it outright cash. Like we did. Or we could actually do it. Recommend right off. And we'll get through budget and everything. Right now, that's what we are.
And which one would you recommend?
Probably like we did last year.
Okay.
And I think we ought to try to do that. There's no
Yeah,
sense
I do
in-
too. Gonna be utilized by all of them anyway.
Do that. Right off the bat.
Seth is gonna have a little extra cash in his budget, I think.
Big plans.
Mayor, don't you have a credit card?
I've never seen it.
Use that.
Mary keeps it in her top desk drawer. I
We can
think.
hand you back with that card?
Matthew Hobbs, come on down.
Good evening. I don't know if I could handle public works. That's like a full-time job. Hey, we're good buddies. So we had Heath and Associates solicit proposals for the next 2 years for gas supply. We got 3 proposals back. That's what you have in front of us. They made a recommendation. We're in agreement with the recommendation and basically going with CenterPoint for the next 2 years, starting end of June.
That's a major
Yeah.
difference.
That's a big jump.
I mean, do you have an understanding why it would be that much different?
We basically buy gas from the supplier. So if you can pick any supplier out there that you want, the supplier gets to pick what fee they charge for that service. So depending on location and how much work they have to do or not do to get that gas from production to pooling point, they get to set that price. We've had it as low as index plus 0. And you can see how much it varies on that one. So we typically try to do it for a 2-year time period and then look for new proposals.
Would you not almost want to try to do 3 years or more?
Well, you usually have a renewal on it if you so choose. So you could renew it for an additional 2 years after the first 2-year cycle if you want to.
Matthew, what did we pay for the last 2 years? What was it?
We've been paying a penny a decatherm since about 2003.
So this is a tremendous saving.
Yeah, it's great.
With the lock, 2 more years?
Yeah.
Get it if you want it after 2.
Let's do it.
They might give you a better deal after 2 years. Who knows?
Wow.
Any questions, comments?
I'm ready for a cold winter.
Yeah, call them right now.
Well,
What do you have
we,
to- Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Well, what do you have to do when you change from one supplier to another?
You might have some changes in invoicing. You know, one might have an office in Houston, another might have an office in Evansville or Indianapolis. So we really shouldn't see that much difference. I mean, the gas could be coming from the same wellhead. It's just a different person clicking buttons, lining things up for delivery. I mean, the Heath actually went back to him and asked, "Are you sure that's not a typo?" And they said, "Well, we're anticipating an invoice a month and some service work, and we're out of the Louisville office, so we don't anticipate it costing us that much to do it. So we think that's a fair price."
We do too.
Yeah.
Well, we'll bring it to you May 7th then for your approval then. Thank you very much.
Good job, Matthew.
Yeah,
That's
you're
a lot
waiting
easier.
to hear the next one.
No, it's a lot easier than explaining this to me, isn't it? All right, Barbara Jones.
She must have the best deal of the day.
Yes, we saved
He's got the
best
prettiest
till
handbook.
All right.
City grade.
Ron's matching your handbook today.
Here you go.
Well, of course, you all have a copy of the revised handbook. We are presenting it today. We won't discuss it. We'll give you all time to look through it and make your suggestions or recommendations. We haven't revised this, most of it, since 2008. So the way the process worked, we formed a committee. So that was Charlie and Dee Dee and Mary and myself, and then we added Ed here very recently. But we met basically weekly, every other week sometimes. Thank you, Mayor. And had discussions on this for quite a while. And we added Ed in. He came in and he made some suggestions. So we've gone through this several times and looked at it. The next step was presenting it to department heads. And I tell you what, these people have some really good suggestions. I'm really I mean, it was great getting ideas from them, and we learned a lot. And I appreciate all your all's time too, because they did put a lot of time into looking through. And I mean, we looked at word by word, page by page, everything. So anyway, we now want to let you all have your chance of looking through it. So we've added, Mary put some sheets in the very back, right behind the last black back of the book. One is a comparison of the current leave time, the 40-hour work week versus the 56-hour work week. We've got the current versus the proposed. And then there's also a list of the changes. We'd love for you to read the whole book, but we know if you don't have time, there is a summary in the back too of everything that's been changed and what pages that the changes were made on. We added a code of ethics and made addendums to some of the policies, like the ADA policy, the sexual and non-sexual harassment, the drug-free workplace. We've added a social media section in there. And we also added weather-related absences. We created a part-time and seasonal handbook of policies and procedures as well. So that's been given to the seasonal people. A few of the major changes in here, we did expected conduct in the code of ethics. Responsibilities of employees for their actions are now listed in the initial section of the book. We've also added our mission statement, which is it was not in the handbook before. The residency requirements to reside in Hardin County are being eliminated. However, there are certain positions that are required to, to reside in the city limits, like department heads, and certain individual departments may require employees in their departments to reside within, I guess, a designated response time. So if they have to be on call, they can, arrive in a timely manner. We used to have probationary period, and we've changed that to introductory period now. Probationary kind of implies that you're going to get something at the end. Introductory is just an initial hiring process. And we've extended it to 1 year. It used to be 6 months. We've added the dress code. It did not used to be in the handbook before too. So we've got it's a section on that. The leave time, there's additional leave time proposed in here. The vacation time, it took a year to get. We've proposed to add that in a little bit earlier than a year. And then also adding 1 more day of personal time in the book. The training and education incentive, we have people sign the training agreements. It used to be a $500 limit. So if their college course was going to cost over $500, they signed an education agreement. We've raised that to $1,000. And then on the phone and cell phone, computer, social media, email, all that, there's no expectation of privacy. So we've added, social media was not in before, but now, of course, now we had to add that in there. So, but the use of publicly provided equipment is subject to public review under the Open Records Law. So we wanted to make sure that got put in the book too. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of changes, but if you all want to look through it and take the time to review and make some suggestions, we kind of like to get it totally ready to implement to employees in June sometime. That's kind of our goal. So whatever you all think, we welcome any suggestions or any changes. And
Barbara, I'm just curious, was there
Yes.
any particular area that, hadn't been revised since 2008? Was there any particular area that was of more concern or difficult for the committee to work with, or new area? I mean, is there, I mean, there's a lot of changes.
there is a lot of changes. Dee Dee, would you like to answer that?
Probably the obvious ones, any additional leave time, that's something that you all need to very thoughtfully and carefully consider, because obviously that has a budgetary, a component to it. The residency requirement, we had a lot of debate about that, and had a lot of debate with our department heads about that also. Most of the rest of it was just some bringing the language up into this, this century. The dress code, yeah, we really worked on the dress code a lot. That's true too. We really, struggled with how standards have changed, for young men and young women, with regard to body art and piercings and that kind of thing.
Wearing belts.
Wearing belts, yes, absolutely.
Pants support.
Pants support.
Is that the verbiage in the book?
Suspenders are fine.
That's right. Suspenders or belts, either
So
one.
there were quite a few areas.
Oh, yes,
that were-
we spent a lot of time on this, and probably, we were just chuckling about it. We really kind of started this 5 years ago. we got really busy with it about a good year ago, I guess, and we met consistently.
2 years ago.
I know.
Like every Friday.
It's been a party ever since.
A lot of good discussion and debate, and as Mark said, we've really had some good comments from the department heads and changed some things as a result of those suggestions, and so, yeah, so now it comes to you.
Well, Dee Dee, I got a question. What was the reasoning behind deleting your position from the scope of coverage?
I guess
They did it behind closed doors.
Scott, yeah,
Bill
Scott,
and elected
Scott and I
official.
are leaving at the same time, I guess, no, because an employee, yeah, an employee, that's right. This used to be,
Scott
yes.
didn't know he's leaving.
I know, that's when you started it, you said it first. I know, you said you were being fired, I guess I am too. No, that's right, I'd forgotten we had done that. It used to be a contract position, and so
Contracted,
it's,
okay,
yeah, so it's.
Thanks for all, I said thanks for all the information. I'll get my keys ready.
Time for retirement, Kate.
Well, and I'm sure you all are very much aware of it, particularly as the legal end of it. There've been a lot of changes in the
Oh,
workplace
yes.
in the
Oh,
last
yes.
10
Oh,
years.
yes. And, yeah,
And I guess I'm sure that the word may or shall
Yes.
makes a big difference
Yeah.
now.
It absolutely does.
And I commend you all for there were a lot of things obviously that needed to be updated and changed, and it was no easy thing. But, you know, the fate of a lot of cities may hang off of their exact wording, so I do commend you all for the hard work, very much so.
And we did seek a lot of guidance, from state and national policies too, particularly with the things that, have become more important these days, like a stronger sexual harassment, policy.
Well, I think there are people, not in the city of E-Town, of course, but I think there are people in other workplaces that look for loopholes where they can benefit. I say that. It's a very,
Not
We've
in
had
the
some.
city of Eaton.
we have, but it is a very important document.
Yes, it is.
Very much.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, thank you all.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Barb. Thank you, Barb.
Barbie, any employees will be eliminated when this goes into effect, or because of these new changes, everybody will comply?
I'm worried about our length of hair.
I just want to mention, the Green Space fundraiser Saturday night was awesome. I don't
Great,
know, a
yeah.
lot of you were there. That was great because the bridges and the trails are just so important to all of us. Oh my gosh. And I was so happy about Dick Bell because you all remember the first time, wasn't it Charlie over there by Cardinal Creek where he built that first bridge? I mean, just on his own, just a person who lives here in town who just wanted to help out and do things. And he's just gone in and built bridges like crazy. It was awesome. It was a great event. And don't forget, Saturday, 1 o'clock, dedication of the Vietnam Wall out at the nature park. Yes, ma'am.
Can I say something about that?
No.
Moving
right along.
Wow. Yeah.
That discipline is rough.
I just wanted to reiterate the parking for next Saturday because it might be a little bit confusing. We are not allowing parking inside the nature park for the Veterans Wall dedication event because of course, the rain we have coming in, and we don't know how many people to expect. So TAC is working alongside with us, and we have several volunteers and staff that will be that will be parking at 4 different locations. We have also 2 backups as well, and then shuttling services. So we're going to be heavily pushing that out in social media. Hopefully, our local media will also be helping to educate folks so we don't have a lot of turnaround happening at the nature park. But I just wanted to reiterate that.
So where are we going? So like the lake?
Lakeside Worship Center is the first one, Gloria Day Lutheran Surgical Center, and Republic Bank. And then backups would be Grace Heartland Church and then Heartland Elementary. So, and we, like I said, we'll have shuttling services. We're going to start at 11 a.m. and the shuttling will be going until probably 1:45, 1:50, hoping it dies down immediately so we can get everybody in. Motorcycle parking will be, motorcycle only parking will be taking place right across from the entrance of the nature park at the Freeman Lake Park. So that will actually be shut down to the public the morning of. And since the weather forecast shows a pretty day, we may have some unhappy people, but we have to do that to allow for motorcycle only parking over there.
How long do you think the dedication will last?
It is 1 hour.
1 hour.
Yes, it is 1 hour. And then, of course, we expect folks to be hanging out at the wall for a little bit, and then shuttling back to the vehicles will be until 3:30, 4 o'clock. And we'll be giving out cards and maps and all kinds of stuff. So we're going to do the best we can at letting folks know we have a lot of signage. We have a lot of police officers, Parks and Rec staff, fire department's going to be there. It's all hands on deck because we honestly do not know what kind of a crowd that we're expecting. So
You also have other volunteers.
we have a lot. We've got about 15 to 16 additional volunteers that are just wanting to come out and help with the day, whether they're driving a golf cart or helping with the parking in the lot. So it's gonna be a busy day anytime. Stay off of Ring Road unless you're coming to the event. Thank you.
Did you have anything you wanted to say, Chief? Jamie? Anything?
Panhandling.
We have, in the last week and a half, we've cited 11 for panhandling, or I'm sorry, excuse me, for violation of pedestrian ordinance, for stepping in the roadway, collecting, soliciting funds. I looked before coming up here this afternoon, 2 of those were repeat offenders, and both of those live here locally somewhere. So we're having it's a mixture of folks. There's one gentleman who was cited. He's been in and out of this area for 15 years. So I would refer to him as a drifter, I guess, because he doesn't have a place to stay, but that's all right.
Any of them that were cited and failed to appear?
They would not have had time to fail to appear yet because the citation is issued at least 2 weeks out, at least 2 weeks. Usually most of them are probably 2.5.
But they also run a risk if they fail to appear, and then they get called again.
Yes.
Then they would be arrested.
Yes, that's correct. But that would be a choice on their part.
Right.
But if they appear, do they get a fine? What's the?
We're working with the county attorney to get some type of community service in lieu of a fine. Because she's in agreement with us, she being Miss Oldham, that we don't want to put them in jail. We're not trying to fine them heavily. Just want them to stop the behavior.
We've got to get a job and go to work.
Just like the rest of us. Any other questions?
Thank you very much. Any other department head? Okay.
You got about 7 minutes.
Oh, I've got to talk for 7 minutes? Okay. Tell you who can do a really good job with that. Marty, want to talk for 7 minutes?
Better turn down the thermostat.
That's true.
We're trying to follow, get rid of the budget.
Okay. We'll be all right. We can hang around in the halls for 7 minutes.
Okay. They got to get up here.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. We're out of the work session and we're going to call the Elizabethtown City Council special meeting to order. And would like motion to close the meeting pursuant to KRS 61.810 to discuss the general nature of existing and possible litigation by the city.
I will make a second.
I will second that.
What motion is 2 seconds? Does anybody else want to second it?
So I guess I could second.
Do we need a discussion on that motion?
You're trying to stall.
All those in
I
favor?
think we could discuss.
Any opposed?
Hey.
Of course, I should have known that. Okay,